Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Eitel Insights podcast. My name is Dan Eitel, and I am the founder and lead analyst for Eitel Insights. Today, we're going to be getting into the detached housing market here in Greater Vancouver. It's kind of got quite the story to tell. We're going to be going over the good, the bad, and the ugly truth, basically, of what's coming up here in Greater Vancouver. Before we get into all that, if you do find our information educational or hopefully a little bit entertaining as well, we ask that you give us a subscribe, like the channel or like the podcast, subscribe to the channel, and if you feel so inclined, leave a few comments, hopefully positive, and if they're negative, hopefully we'll have some time in the future to address them. Also, if you do have any questions geared towards us and the general market, of course, you can reach out here in the comment section. If you do have personal questions about your individual situation, then by all means, we welcome you to be an Eitel Insights client. Also, before we get into our new data set of the detached market and kind of starting to have a conversation about that, I would actually like to send out some appreciation to our followers over the last month and a half. I've really received quite a number of emails. Clients are really being appreciative of the money that we've saved them by advising them to not necessarily step into this market, but rather actually take advantage of this pocket of strength and sell into it, but definitely not to purchase. And as we see kind of our new reality, that is certainly showing to be excellent advice. So let's get into it a little bit here. The Greater Vancouver detached market in March actually hit one of the highest sales price in the past 21 months. So it actually came in at $1,709,000. We'll just toss this up on your screen right now so you can see and kind of follow along. That being said, I believe this market's hitting its head on this upper echelon of the market. For those that have been following us for a while, you'll notice that this chart does look a little bit different. Now that downtrend has been broken, we actually put that in a red line. And that seemed to have kind of bottomed out there roughly right around 1.5, which is the lower echelon of the market that we are anticipating to show up here again later on in 2020, and of course 1.4 as well. So it seems that the market is setting up to be more of a newer divergent trend. What's interesting is, again, you see that orange line coming from the peaks during the 2017 and 2018 market. And those stayed consistent, and it seems that that's where this market is kind of its next question phase will be with this orange downtrend and, of course, this green uptrend, which basically brought the market higher over the past year or so, and again, testing 1.50 million. And now, of course, we'll get into the forecast. Eitel Insights, again, we've been suggesting to sell into this pocket of strength. By no means have we ever advised to purchase. We know that there are other analysts out there that, again, are flopping like fish. Last year it was the time to buy, and this year it's the time to sell. We try not to steer you wrong. Of course, it's a reality that you can't be 100%. However, our analytics do allow us to be at the higher end of correctness. Of course, we will be dealing with this Toronto market upcoming, which we did anticipate to fall off during 2019. Subsequently, it didn't. Kind of contrary to a lot of belief, it didn't actually go as high as it's perceived that it did. And again, we will be dealing with that here in the next upcoming days or weeks and show you of that. That being said, Greater Vancouver, it hasn't steered you wrong once. So by taking advantage of it and selling into this market, yeah, you just took advantage and sold at the highest price in the past 21 months since June of 2018, which is basically at the end of that frenzied mentality. So can you imagine that from this new reality that we're in? You just realistically achieved the exact sale price when everybody was having multiple offers. So that's kind of the actionable intelligence that we offer to you and you can take advantage of, as opposed to, well, the market seems to be solidifying and it's time to buy. Fortunately, if you took that advice, you're up creek and almost without a paddle, and your analysts now have completely left you out in the lone and saying how the market's going to go lower. So that's an oddity. And of course, there is the old theory of buy and look out 20 years, and they'll say, you know what, we're not wrong. Well, okay, you're not wrong. I mean, inflation goes up over the course of 20 years. Everything goes up over the course of 20 years. So as far as that being tangible advice, we don't really give any credence to that. That being said, even with that market strategy, let's say that you bought last month at a 1.7 million detached average sale price. This year, in our opinion, the prices will go down to 1.4. if you had bought with the 20-year outlook, why not purchase with some actionable intelligence and buy at 1.40? I mean, that's $300,000 of saving rather than your 20-year investment being upside down $300,000 for the first few years. Why not just sit on the sidelines, let the market fall off, and your entry point would be at 1.4, like Eitel Insights has guided you all along. Now, dealing with the 1.4, in the past, over the past year or so, we have explained that if 1.4 does not hold, the next echelon or the next threshold of a significant technical test will be at 1.225. Now, the total correction numbers between the difference of those two is at 1.4, you're roughly around 23% correction. And at the 1.225 mark, you're roughly around 33% correction. So now just a little bit of maybe an exercise to go through at home. Right now, I can't. You'd be hard pressed to find a positive analyst or any pontification that is merit anywhere in any merit in reality, saying that the market's going to explode over the next couple of years. I think we've kind of all proven that yeah, it's still going lower. Eitel Insights has been correct the whole time. We don't flip flop like fish. So let's play this scenario. Let's say that 1.4 shows up. That would basically be an 18% reduction from your sale price, the average sale price in March, to where 1.4 hits. So take this practical test at home. If you have your house right now, let's say it's worth $1 million, and the property is going to go down 18%, that's $180,000 equity gone, right? If you can live through that, you're okay with the 10-year theory, right? If that doesn't push you into a foreclosure situation or an uncomfortable situation, just ride it out. In 5 years, the market will be back up to these levels, or probably even sooner, actually, likely 2023, 2024, these levels will be showing up again. That being said, we're not going to see them for the near term. So if you can withstand that, then almost be like an ostrich, put your head in the sand and don't pay attention to the market for the next few years. If that does scare you, why would you wait on the tracks for the train to hit you? Merely get off the tracks, list your property at an appropriate price, and sell out before we hit the 18% decrease in price. And on the even more negative scale, what if we actually go down to 1.225? That'd be a 28% correction from where we're at right now. Not a very rosy scenario. So in that case, you're down $280,000 on your $1 million property. If you can't afford it then, I mean, the bank will sell it for you. So you might as well get out now, get out with your skin and have some money, put it in the bank and maybe repurchase a townhouse or a condo or whatever. But this market reality of just sticking your head in your sand isn't going to bear out very well for anybody that is in a tight situation. If you've owned your property forever, I mean, yeah, you can definitely withstand this market correction and come out fine the other side. Now, one interesting point on that, I'll give you an ideal scenario, and there's not too many ideal scenarios in this real estate market right now. If you have the idea of downsizing over the next 2, 3, 4 years, my advice might be, hey, sell the house now, rent a property for the next 2 years, and let the condo market fall. That's basically a way to clip the real estate market, which doesn't come by very often. So you're going to be able to sell at the highest mark in the recent history of the detached market and not purchase the condo, which of course is also at the near-term high. So you're going to sell out the detached property and you're going to simply wait. You're going to rent a detached home, a condo, whatever you wish, and let the market fall off. So first of all, you're going to save roughly $300,000 of the detached price by selling now rather than selling when the market bottom hits. And you're going to pick up $125,000 on average for the condo price because they're going to be falling as well. So you'd be hard pressed to find a rental for the next 2 years that's going to cost you basically $500,000. That would be one way to strategize to take advantage of this uncomfortable market where we're going. The idea of buying and selling in a similar time frame, you're relatively safe. That's a very true statement. However, this is a situation where you can get the most money and buy back cheap. Selling high and buying low has never made anybody broke. So that would be one strategy where you can kind of take this going forward and take advantage of it. So let's get into some of the other numbers here. The detached sales, interesting data came out. So we'll just toss that up on your chart here again. The sales totals released from the real estate board came in at 862 sales. Now, those that listened to our last podcast about the condo market, you'll hear this for another time. What's interesting about the sales numbers reported by the real estate board, these aren't accepted offers. These are properties that they've transferred at land titles and there's been a key exchange. So sales numbers are counted as completed deals done at land titles. They're not accepted offers and they count towards sales, unlike the real estate average sale price. The average sale price of the month of March, which of course came in at 1.7 roughly, that was for the accepted offers during the month of March. The sales numbers that they report are from previous month's sales when the average sale price was from previous months, but they're actually doing the key exchange during this month. So it's kind of an oddity how they record their data, but that just is fact. So the fact that it's at 862 means that these were completed deals from months previous. It'd be interesting to see going forward over the next few months to see if there's any non-completed deals, which means that they had an accepted offer, say in the month of March, and they back out simply because the bank won't give them the money. They maybe unfortunately lost their job given this new reality. It's a possibility. So these sales numbers that are reported right now do seem odd. And yes, they are odd because they're not almost live numbers. These live numbers that we'll see for the month of March and April won't show up until June, July for the completions. And that's just one thing to kind of keep in mind. And so don't really read a whole bunch into this 862. And what's odd, you don't hear anybody touting about basically the increase year over year, unlike what they were doing in 2019. Every analyst, whoa, look, it's 80% up year over year. Well, that's this month too. The data from March of 2019 was, I believe, around 400. So, around 510. So, I mean, that's a huge increase, but nobody's talking about it right now because they know this market's going lower. Again, we've advised to sell into this strength. Now, you're not going to see too many purchasers be willing to purchase in the upcoming future. That being said, you're going to do better by listing your property now than listing your property in 6 months. So on that, we'll get into the inventory market here. So inventory in the month of March came in at 4,156 active listings. And that's nominal. We would definitely expect the onslaught of listings is on the way. What's interesting, again, you're not going to be getting a better price probably next month or the month after than 1.7. However, you're going to be getting better offers than what you're going to be receiving in October, November, December of 2020, and likely even going forward into 2021. Right? This market's got to find its bottom, and you're either going to be a casualty of that by selling later on, or you're going to be taking advantage of it now. Now, it's nothing to necessarily take advantage of, but it's a reality. You're going to do better today than you're going to do in a year from now. And we equated on the Money Talks article that we just released. It's almost like, a lot of sellers have been chasing the two birds in the bush. Realistically, you got to start accepting the bird in the hand, because when you start looking for those bird in the bush, you'll be chasing those darn birds for a long time without any success. You will literally chase this market lower like it has happened in previous market cycles. So our advice, if you are going to list your property because you're in a situation where, the financial future is uncertain and it's negative and you don't want to be a part of that, well, then sell out of it. I mean, yeah, you can always buy back if you had to. And of course, you're going to have to pay a bit of commissions. And by no means do I want to churn anybody. If you can ride this out, do so. But if you are in a place where the train is coming straight for you, get off the tracks. Don't let the train hit you, because that's going to make a lot more mess than if you just stand to the side. Going forward, there'll be next opportunities to purchase into a rising market. This is very much of a falling market. So there's different reasons to buy and sell. However, there's going to be more reasons to sell in the near term, longer term future than there's reasons to buy. So if you do receive an offer, it's probably not going to be to your liking, but I can guarantee you that it's going to be a lot better than it will be 6 months from now, 7 months from now, or a year from now. So take advantage of the bird in the hand rather than chasing the two in the bush. As far as buyers, you've kind of been rewarded by looking without touching. So you can take a look at the open houses as long as you haven't entered into an accepted offer. It's okay to look. Have some fun looking. What's nice is that you're going to have a more relaxed atmosphere upcoming. There will be next to no analyst stating about a market going up. So there will be more inventory coming. And you'll be able to bide your time, get a cheaper price property with more opportunities to look at which property is the one for you. Now we'll get into a little bit about how Eitel Insights, again, does differentiate itself from the other analysts. Now, one thing's interesting, right? I mean, we don't discredit or really even challenge how somebody comes up with their information. You know, you can be using chicken bones, and as long as you're projecting the market correct, that's fine with us. That's not a realistic system for it to be correct, you know, but whatever the amount of hours it takes behind the scenes to come up with your formulas, come up with your forecast, it can be from a gut feel, which some analysts strictly run off of. And they're right some of the time, most of the time they're not. Other analysts, they'll come up with whatever variety of analytics to come out and say, here's what we think, right? And that's fine. It can be from A to Z. It can be a variety of different methods to come up with their statement. The challenge with that is once the statement has been made, there is an actual answer. And literally the answer is very binary. Are you right or are you wrong? Eitel Insights has been correct, right 100% of the time. Sell into this strength. If you sold and you're one of Eitel Insights clients and you sold to another analyst client, Eitel Insights clients are happy. The other analysts and clients, not so happy. Not to mention when they ask their analyst what happened, they look at their analyst and he's saying, well, the market's going lower. Oh, where's my support? Where was that confidence that I heard from you 6 months ago that the market was bottoming in 2019 and you got to get in with fear of missing out? You know, so it's very interesting. Of course, we're not trying to downplay any other analyst, but what we are trying to do is show you the exactness of Eitel Insights' methodology of analysis for this real estate market. If you did like this channel, again, please give us a thumbs up. We hope that we'll give you some more actionable intelligence as the market continues to progress forward. Very much just as a general thesis, you want to be selling into this market. You don't want to be buying into the detached market. You will be seeing lower prices as the months go forward and increased inventory. So again, if you like the podcast, you like the content, we do ask for a thumbs up. We ask you to subscribe to the channel. And if you feel so inclined, please leave a few comments. And that'll be all for now. We look forward to hearing or speaking to you guys next time.